Talking about luxury can be quite sensitive. Hi everybody, welcome back. Today, let's have a little Luxe Chit Chat. This topic came about while I was talking to a subscriber about her situation, and it made me reflect that I also face this scenario whereby when I buy something of luxury, something expensive, I always wonder if I should tell my loved ones. So let's have a conversation. I want to hear what you think. Like, what are your thoughts? If you bought something expensive, it could be Chanel, it could be Coach, it can be anything, but it's definitely a luxury item. Would you tell your loved one? Comment in the comment section down below. Before you hear my thoughts, just share if you would tell them and tell me why. If you won't tell them, tell me why as well. And let's have a little conversation, a little debate if it's the right thing to do or it's not the right thing to do, or you should do it, you shouldn't do it. Let me know before you get into this video. But if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kat. I love to do handbag related videos. I love to do reviews, unboxings, quite like to do unboxings, and I also love to do makeup, skincare and jewelry type of videos. So if you like that, I hope you subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. And for everyone else, let's talk about this telling people kind of topic. So the question is, should you tell your loved ones about your luxury purchases? And my answer is yes and no. So I think I'm going to talk about why I think you should tell your loved ones, but then I'm gonna go and tell you why you shouldn't tell your loved ones as well. So let's talk about the yes first, and then we'll dive into the no's. I think luxury purchases has a stigma behind it. It's expensive, it's spendthrift, it's frivolous, it's superficial, it's got all the bad things about it, and it's just something that people don't understand. They just see you as a showing off person. So I still think that you should tell your loved ones that you do like buying luxury stuff. As long as you're doing it responsibly, I feel like it's a yes, because honesty is the best policy. I feel like when you don't tell your loved ones, they feel like they are, kept away from this secret. Not telling you could create a gap between you and your loved one, especially with communication. I know it's not as serious as many other things, but if you really, really love something, you're passionate about it, you enjoy it, it actually brings you a lot of joy. By not sharing this part of your life with your loved ones, it will create this crack because they just don't understand you. They just don't understand why you love, to buy this Chanel bag that you're crazy about. They just don't understand it. And if you don't tell, you create secrets. So I feel like it's a yes. And for your loved ones, so when I say loved ones, I'm actually talking about people who are super close to you, your partner, your parents, maybe your siblings. These are your core group of people who they know about you, they've lived with you, your mom gave birth to you, that kind of thing. That is what I mean when it comes to loved ones. Yes, I feel like the answer is must tell. You cannot hide it. I also feel it's a yes to tell because sometimes they are curious. They want to know more about you because everyone grows up, everybody's lives change. It's maybe a topic of conversation, and when you share things, you're opening up, right? It doesn't matter if you love about cooking or what, but with luxury, if it takes up a portion of your life that you are passionate about it, you work, you save, you're interested about it, I think it makes them feel like you are opening up, and it's a conversation, right? And you know what? Sometimes it makes them understand your interest better by sharing, the Chanel bag this season. They may not be the most interested about it, but you might get them to be interested about it, like, oh, Chanel got new season, huh? But they actually may not be, fully aware of what it is, but for them to feel like they are part of your passion is very empowering, and I think it makes you closer to them. So definitely I feel with your loved ones, it is important to share. Now, let's talk about why I also think it's a no. sharing. What I mean by no, I mean you don't need to be so honest. Some things are better left a little bit vague. You can tell about, oh, this is a Chanel bag, but do you need to go down to the cents and dollars? So I in this sense, I am coming from a perspective is a no. You didn't tell them about Chanel. You can tell them about Hermes and your LV and your Coaches and your Michael Kors and all this. But when you come to the nitty-gritty details, I feel like that is where you leave it a little vague. So that part, I feel it's a no. Unless you have such an intricate, like super tight-knit family that knows every single dirty detail from you, I feel like that kind of information is unnecessary. They know it's expensive, and so, how much do you want to tell them? Now, I still think, like I said, leave it a little vague. Let's break down the loved ones of the meaning of vagueness and a little bit like a no. So for me, my husband, he knows about my luxury purchases, and I do tell him, the pricing, the cost, I am honest with it. But some things I still leave out. But if you're asking me, does he know how much my Birkin costs? He does. I finally told him. I didn't tell him right up front. I sort of like inched that information in slowly because I was sort of explaining to him how good this investment is. So in that sense, I do tell him because he is my partner. So I keep it pretty honest, but still slightly vague. Now, let's talk about parents. So my parents are very traditional. I do not come from a rich family. My mom is a teacher. My dad is just a project manager. I think he does roads or something. And we live in a very humble home. They don't have a lot when they were younger as well. So I am the most spendthrift child that they have. I've always been the naughty one, the ones that likes to buy things. So my mom knows I love pretty things, and she's always nagging me, like, save your money, don't buy this, are you buying another bag again? So because I know they know I love this, I tell them, but I don't go into the nitty-gritty details. I feel like that's where we leave it, like for me, I leave it vague. Don't think they can understand, and I don't want them to feel worried as well, because that information doesn't serve them any purpose than to worry about me more. So I tell them occasionally, when I buy a little, like a cheaper bag, then I throw some information there. But overall, I tell them, but not entirely. And when they see a new like bangle or a new bracelet, I'm like, yeah, it's one of those brands. And my mom be like, save your money, okay? And I'll be like, okay. So yeah, vague, very vague. So this is like maybe even more vague. My husband's like this vague, 10% vague, and then parents are like 50% vague, or maybe 60% vague. Now let's talk about siblings. Okay, so I have 2 older brothers, and sometimes I tell them, if they saw my video, I will tell them. I don't offer the information because I know my brothers know that they have a very expensive, high maintenance sister. Love my brothers, and they don't disturb me on anything, and anytime if they need help, I will be there for them. So we have a very good relationship. But when it comes to shopping, my brothers don't really dig it out from me, and I don't offer that information. Plus, I know I love them so much, but shopping is not their jam. So if they ask me like, is your bag expensive? Quite. And they'll be like giving me that look like, girl, you need to save your money. But they don't say it because they're my brothers, right? They just know like they know I'm feeling the guilt at the back. Like, we keep it at that distance. But I do, occasionally share my bag. I'll bring it there. I'm like, oh, this is a good bag, I'll tell my brothers. So depending on your relationship with your siblings, I feel like maybe the vagueness should be around like the parent level vagueness. Maybe not so much. It depends. If your parents nag you a lot, maybe not so much. But keep it vague. Like, I still feel you can tell them if you want to tell them. It's not necessary to tell them. But if you decide like, okay, I'll be like, honesty is the best policy if they ask about it. Yeah, my stand is to be pretty vague. Okay, so let's talk about friends. Now, friends are also people who we love, our loved ones. Now, there could be a range of friends, right? You could be your best friend, your close friend, your good friend, your, acquaintances. So let's talk about your best friend. For me, I'm very introverted. I only have one best friend and she lives very far away from me. I do tell her about my luxury things. In fact, she knows about it. She's even asked me what to buy for years and years. So I do tell her. I don't tell her everything unless we're chatting about it. But I will tell her, I don't have anything to hide. I will actually explain to her. We live very different lives, so I do tell my best friend because she is my best friend, thick and thin. Now, when it comes to like friends around me, I actually don't. So they are, I would say, I still love them, but they are not my loved ones that I want to share this very private information. They know that I love handbags, but I don't go into the nitty-gritty details of it. In fact, I'd be about maybe 80% vague, 90% vague. And the reason is because you don't know, like I don't know what stage of life they are in, like what happens behind the scenes when I'm not with them. They could be having financial difficulty, they could be, maybe they also love it like me, or they could be many things that I don't want to impose feelings that as a result of what I'm sharing. So by saying something, they could feel something that I have no control over, so why bring it up? That's how I feel when I talk about my luxury things, which I actually don't talk about with my friends and acquaintances and everyone beneath that. Like I don't bring it up necessarily. If they see me with, let's say, I don't know, like a bracelet or a handbag, they'll be like, wow, nice bag. I am most likely going to be like, yeah, thank you. And I cut the information like there. Unless they prod a little bit more and I sort of like use a bit of judgment, I kind of play it by ear. But my guard is up when people other than my loved ones ask me, because like I said, you don't know what they are going through. You don't really know if they are asking sincerely or they're asking to compare, or they're asking to compare on themselves. I don't want that to happen, so I do overthink it when it comes to that, because you don't really know, right? So I guess when you have friends and maybe everyone beneath that, so acquaintances, people you just met, I say play by ear, but my stance is a no first. Like don't go into that, like don't offer the information freely. Then finally, those people will also include all the people around you. If you're working in an office environment, your colleagues, your bosses, if you meet people outside, that is 100% no, you don't need to tell them. But they're not your loved ones, but I just wanted to bring it up. Just in case you ask me, do you think you should tell your colleagues? My answer is really a no. Again, you don't know what they're up to, you don't know their life, you don't know what they're judging you, you don't know, and therefore just don't tell. Like I feel not necessary. But your loved ones, definitely it's a yes with different levels of vagueness. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Luxe Chit Chat. Remember to comment down below what you would do if you were faced with this situation. I would definitely be reading that. We'll all be reading that. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell as well. Otherwise, everybody please take care and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!